Hello Trivia Masters. Welcome back to another episode of Geography Facts and Trivias that you may love to know. In today's video, we will count down the top 10 small but economically powerful countries of Asia. These are Asian countries that might be small in sizes, but the economies are much better than the bigger ones in the region. The Asian countries included in this list are countries that are legally recognized as independent nations and with areas less than 200,000 square kilometers. The rankings of these countries will be based on their GDP nominal, GDP purchasing power parity, GDP nominal per capita, GDP purchasing power parity per capita, and their Human Development Index score. But before we start the countdown, let us first understand what these 5 bases of rankings mean. Gross domestic product, or GDP nominal, is the total market value of all goods and services produced in a country's economy over a given period, while GDP nominal per capita is the average per person output of the economy in the prices of the current year. GDP nominal per capita is calculated by dividing the GDP of a nation by its population. On the other hand, GDP purchasing power parity, or GDP-PPP, is a gross domestic product converted to international dollars using purchasing power parity rates. The idea for purchasing power parity suggests that goods in one country will cost the same in another country once their exchange rate is applied. GDP purchasing power parity per capita is also calculated by dividing the GDP purchasing power parity of a nation by its population. Finally, the Human Development Index (HDI) summarizes measure of key dimensions of human development: a long and healthy life, a good education, and a decent standard of living. With all these 5 considerations, here are the official top 10 small but economically powerful countries of Asia. Entering the 10th spot is a transcontinental country located in East Europe and West Asia, the country of Georgia. The country covers an area of 69,700 square kilometers and has a population of 3.7 million people. Tbilisi is its capital and largest city, home to roughly a third of the Georgian population. The World Bank dubbed Georgia the #1 economic reformer in the world because it has in 1 year improved from rank 112th to 18th in terms of ease of doing business, and by 2020 further improved its position to 6th in the world. As of 2021, it ranked 12th in the world for economic freedom. Georgia also has a very high score in the Human Development Index at 0.802. Of factors contributing to HDI, education had the most positive influence as Georgia ranks in the top quintile in terms of education. Here is the breakdown of Georgia in the 5 categories. GDP nominal, $30.0 to $3 billion. GDP PPP, $82.21 billion. GDP nominal per capita, $8,165. GDP PPP per capita, $22,357. HDI score, 0.802, very high. Next on the spot at number 9 is the West Asian country officially known as the Kingdom of Bahrain. The current population of Bahrain is 1,501,635 as of May 14, 2023, based on elaborations of the latest United Nations data, of whom 712,362 are Bahraini nationals. Bahrain spans some 760 square kilometers and is the 3rd smallest nation in Asia after the Maldives and Singapore. The capital and largest city is Manama. Bahrain developed the first post-oil economy in the Persian Gulf, the result of decades of investing in the banking and tourism sectors. Many of the world's largest financial institutions have a presence in the country's capital. It is recognized by the World Bank as a high-income economy. Here is the breakdown of Bahrain in the 5 categories. GDP nominal, $44.99 billion. GDP PPP, $95.973 billion. GDP nominal per capita, $28,464. GDP PPP per capita, $60,715. HDI score, 0.875, very high. Number 8 on the list is a nation in Southeast Asia, situated on the northern coast of the island off Borneo, the country of Brunei. As of 2020, the country had a population of 460,345, of whom approximately 100,000 resided in the capital and largest city Bandar Seri Begawan. It has an area of only 5,765 square kilometers. The country's wealth derives from its extensive petroleum and natural gas fields. Economic growth during the 1990s and 2000s has transformed Brunei into an industrialized country, with the GDP increasing 56% between 1999 and 2008. Brunei has the second highest Human Development Index among Southeast Asian states, trailing only Singapore. According to the International Monetary Fund, Brunei is ranked 5th in the world by gross domestic product per capita at purchasing power parity. Here is the breakdown of Brunei in the 5 categories. GDP nominal, $15.153 billion. GDP PPP, $32 billion. GDP nominal per capita, $34,383. GDP PPP per capita, $72,609. HDI score, 0.829, very high. Entering the 7th spot is an island country on the Mediterranean Sea, the Republic of Cyprus. Its capital and largest city is Nicosia. The country's area is only 9,251 square kilometers, while its population is 1.24 per million according to the 2021 census. Cyprus made a staggering economic recovery in the 2010s, and according to the 2023 International Monetary Fund estimates, Cyprus per capita GDP at $54,611 is the highest in southern Europe, though slightly below the European Union average. Tourism, financial services, and shipping are significant parts of the economy, and Cyprus has been sought as a base for several offshore businesses due to its low tax rates and ease of doing business. Cyprus is a major tourist destination in the Mediterranean, with an advanced high-income economy and a very high Human Development Index. Here is the breakdown of Cyprus in the 5 categories. GDP nominal, $32.032 billion. GDP PPP, $49.655 billion. GDP nominal per capita, $34,791. GDP PPP per capita, $53,931. HDI score, 0.896, very high. Number 6 on our list is a country in West Asia, the State of Israel. Tel Aviv is the financial, economic, and technological center of the country, while its seat of government is in its proclaimed capital of Jerusalem, although Israeli sovereignty over East Jerusalem is unrecognized internationally. It has an area of 21,939 square kilometers, while its 2024 estimated population is 9.8 million people. Israel has the highest Human Development Index of all countries in the Middle East and is one of the richest countries in Asia. It has the highest standards of living in the Middle East and has been ranked as one of the most advanced and technological countries. It has the world's 29th largest economy by nominal GDP and 16th by nominal GDP per capita. Here is the breakdown of Israel in the 5 categories. GDP nominal $521.688 billion. GDP PPP $537.1 billion. GDP nominal per capita $53,195. GDP PPP per capita $54,771. HDI score 0.919, very high. Another country from West Asia entered the list of our top 10, the state of Qatar. The capital is Doha, home to over 80% of the country's inhabitants, and the land area is mostly made up of flat, low-lying desert. It has a population of almost 2.9 million people in the year 2020, while its area is 11,581 square kilometers. The country has the fourth highest GDP purchasing power parity per capita in the world and ranks 42nd in the Human Development Index, the third highest HDI in the Arab world. It is a high-income economy, backed by the world's third largest natural gas reserves and oil reserves. Qatar is one of the world's largest exporters of liquefied natural gas and the world's largest emitter of carbon dioxide per capita. Here is the breakdown of Qatar in the 5 categories. GDP nominal $235.5 billion. GDP PPP $328.13 billion. GDP nominal per capita $81,968. GDP PPP per capita $114,210. HDI score 0.855, very high. Entering the 4th spot, and also a country in West Asia, the state of Kuwait. Most of the country's population resides in the urban agglomeration of the capital and largest city of Kuwait City. As of 2022, Kuwait has a population of 4.45 million people, of which 1.45 million are Kuwaiti citizens, while the remaining 3 million are foreign nationals from over 100 countries. It has a land area of 17,818 square kilometers. Kuwait has a wealthy petroleum-based economy. It is one of the richest countries in the world, and the Kuwaiti dinar is the highest valued unit of currency in the world. According to the World Bank, Kuwait is the 5th richest country in the world by gross national income per capita. Here is the breakdown of Kuwait in the 5 categories. GDP nominal $159.687 billion. GDP PPP $256.593 billion. GDP nominal per capita $32,215. GDP PPP per capita $51,764. HDI score 0.831, very high. Third on the list is another country from West Asia in the Middle East, the United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates, or simply the Emirates, has an area of 83,600 square kilometers, while its 2020 estimated population is 9.28 million people. Its capital is Abu Dhabi, and the largest city is Dubai. The United Arab Emirates has developed from a juxtaposition of Bedouin tribes to one of the world's wealthiest states in only about 50 years, boasting one of the highest GDP purchasing power parity per capita figures in the world. Supported by the world's 7th largest oil reserves and aided by prudent investments, coupled with a resolute commitment to economic liberalism and strong governmental oversight, the United Arab Emirates has witnessed its real GDP increase by more than 3 times over the past 4 decades. Presently, the United Arab Emirates is among the wealthiest countries globally, with GDP per capita nearly 80% higher than the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development average. Here is the breakdown of United Arab Emirates in the 5 categories. GDP nominal $509.179 billion. GDP PPP $895.166 billion. GDP nominal per capita $50,605. GDP PPP per capita $88,961. HDI score 0.911, very high. On the second spot, and finally from East Asia, the Republic of South Korea. South Korea has a population of 51.96 million, of which roughly half live in the Seoul capital area, the fourth most populous metropolitan area in the world. Other major cities include Incheon, Busan, and Daegu. It is considered a regional power and a developed country, with its economy ranked as the world's 13th largest by nominal GDP and the 14th largest by GDP purchasing power parity. Its citizens enjoy one of the world's fastest internet connection speeds and densest high-speed railway networks. The country is the world's 9th largest exporter and 9th largest importer. Its armed forces are ranked as one of the world's strongest militaries, with the world's 2nd largest standing army by military and paramilitary personnel. In the 21st century, South Korea has been renowned for its globally influential pop culture, particularly in music, TV dramas, and cinema, a phenomenon referred to as the Korean Wave. Here is the breakdown of South Korea in the 5 categories. GDP nominal $1.709 trillion. GDP PPP $2.924 trillion. GDP nominal per capita $33,147. GDP PPP per capita $56,708. HDI score 0.925, very high. And finally, Asia's most economically powerful, yet a small country, is the island country in Southeast Asia region, the Republic of Singapore. Singapore is the 2nd smallest country in Asia, with only 743 square kilometers, while its population is more than 5.9 million as of 2023 estimate. Singapore has a highly developed market economy based historically on extended intrep trade. Along with Hong Kong, South Korea, and Taiwan, Singapore is one of the 4 Asian tigers and has surpassed its peers in terms of gross domestic product per capita. The Singaporean economy is regarded as free, innovative, dynamic, and business-friendly. For several years, Singapore has been one of the few countries with an AAA credit rating from the Big Three, and the only Asian country to achieve this rating. Singapore attracts a large amount of foreign investment as a result of its location, skilled workforce, low tax rates, advanced infrastructure, and zero tolerance against corruption. It was the world's 4th most competitive economy in 2023, according to the International Institute for Management Development's World Competitiveness Ranking of 64 countries, with the highest GDP purchasing power parity per capita. Here is the breakdown of Singapore in the 5 categories. GDP nominal $497.347 billion. GDP PPP $753.273 billion. GDP nominal per capita $87,880. GDP PPP per capita $133,107. HDI score 0.939, very high. This is the list of the top 10 small but economically powerful countries in Asia. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again on the next episode.